Do you remember the TV show Top Shot, where they had a lot of really different cool shooting challenges? If so, like me, you may have wished that you had your own Top Shot style range where you could practice some very practical skills that really you're unable to do at most commercial ranges due to admittedly necessary safety limitations. Things like a rapid fire, 360-degree targets, transitions, moving targets, all kinds of stuff that is not only cool, but it actually is a useful skill to practice. Well, in today's video, I'm really excited to take you on a quick tour of my new virtual Top Shot style practice range where I can do all those things and more. And I know as soon as I said virtual, I know what you're thinking. I was thinking the same thing. But hear me out. You're going to want to see this. I think this has some really practical value and it's fun. That's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me for today's video where we're going to get a little nerdy. Like I said, I know probably what you were thinking as soon as you heard the word virtual. Again, I was thinking the same thing. My friend John Abbott called me about a week after SHOT Show and said, hey, I saw this thing at SHOT Show. I bought it. You need to check it out. I really, really think it's going to be helpful and useful, and you're going to like it, and I think it's something you're going to show the people who watch your videos. So I took a look at it. Honestly, I was skeptical because this is part of the system, and I've never been a gamer. I've seen these people with these virtual reality headphones, and I always kind of thought that's kind of goofy, kind of nerdy. I mean, the closest I came to being a gamer was I was pretty decent at Atari, so that tells you where I'm at in this whole thing. But John recommended it. He was serious about it, and I trust what John's got to say. He's got a lot more experience than me. So I bit the bullet, no pun intended, and bought one. And I'm glad I did. I really do think it is a useful tool for practicing valuable skills that can help you be better prepared to protect yourself and your family. So what we're going to do in today's video is I'm going to take you on a quick tour of my new shooting range. I'm going to tell you why I think it is such a useful training tool. I'm going to give you 7 ways to get the best bang for your buck if you decide to do this. And speaking of bucks, I'll tell you how many bucks it's going to cost you to get started. And we're going to do that in just a minute. But first, today's words of wisdom from the Bible. Today's wisdom is from the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 16. How much better to get wisdom than gold and good judgment than silver. And speaking of hog holsters, I got to say a big thank you to John at Hog Holsters for being the longest running channel sponsor here at Survival on Purpose. You've heard me say this before. I've got a box of holsters that I went through trying to find the perfect holster. And as soon as I found hog holsters, I quit looking, and I have been carrying the hog holsters daily for over 10 years now. I think since 2015 is what John told me the other day. Hog holsters are made in the USA, 100% down to the very screws. They're individually handcrafted to fit your specific pistol model, so there's no one size fits all. If you have a certain pistol model, you get a holster for it. If John makes a holster for that pistol, it'll fit your pistol with absolutely perfect built-in retention. And if you use the coupon code Survival on Purpose, all one word, you'll be glad you did. So thanks again to Hog Holsters for being the longest running channel sponsor. Now, I'd like to invite you to join me on my new range and check it out. Okay, so here we are in the range hut. I'm not going to go over much of the stuff in here because Ace has a lot of videos showing all this stuff and how to do it. Just want to kind of take you out to the range, actually, let you see some cool stuff. So the first thing I want to show you is the skills ranges I have here. And you can see there are 5 different skills to work on. So we'll just start on the first one. This is a Trijicon sight. And what this is, when you present your pistol to the target, it's gonna turn into a target, and you've got so many seconds to shoot. In this case, you've got 5 seconds to shoot, and it's 10 yards. So we draw and present the pistol and shoot. And then you can see where you hit. And I did not pick up my dot, so that gave you 5 seconds to do it. Do it one more time. I only got 1 shot in before it covered. So anyway, that helps you really focus on your picking up your dot if you're using a dot or picking up your sights. The next one, we'll go to a transitions drill. And this again works on transitions. And what you want to do is you shoot the center one. 2 more pop up. And you can transition. And it's going to go all the way over to the outside. And they'll keep doing that. And you start getting less time for them to stay up there. So that's the transition skill. This one is just straight up accuracy. And if you look over here real quickly, there's a shot alignment basics, and you can see right on that side, on the right-hand side, those are excess big dots. I haven't figured out how to find them, get them yet, but we'll start at 5 yards, and basically you shoot 3 times, and it goes 5 more yards out. You can look over here and see where you hit, and it keeps going out all the way to 45 yards, and then if you miss one, it comes back 5 yards. So that's a good way to really focus on your trigger press and making sure that you're keeping your sights on the target when you press the trigger, you're not moving them. And the further out you get, obviously, the harder that is. The next one is going to be slicing the pie. I don't have enough room to move in here, but basically what this does is, we'll move you over here, and that's called teleporting. We'll talk about that maybe. But then you want to start, and you got bad guys with guns, and you got several other good guys. And so you kind of look around and see what you got. Oh, there's another bad guy. So that's it. And it gets progressively harder. And go back to this one more skills, and we'll check the target identification. I like this one. Basically, once it starts, these 3 doors are going to open. One of them is going to have a bad guy in it. You got to identify the bad guy quickly and put him down. When he drops, he's down. It'll go again, and the little light over there will turn green when it opens. All right, so that's I believe that covers all the skills. If you go back, got several thrills, and these are just different cool ranges you can set up to do all kinds of stuff. You got Ronin ranges and Terran tactical range. You can just shoot a whole bunch of different stuff. You can also have contests that you can do. With yourself or with somebody else. But let's see. Another thing that's really cool about thrills, I think is really cool anyway, is this Zombie Bot 360. They do the same thing with drones, but we'll go with the zombies because it's cooler. So, and what this does, it kind of helps you with a 360-degree awareness, and this is stuff you certainly can't do on a commercial range. You can't point your pistol in all different directions. And you see what you're trying to do here is kill the zombies. And there's another one. And they just keep coming. And they keep coming faster and more aggressively until eventually they're going to break in on you. So anyway, I'm going to give you a quick taste of that. Let's get out of here. Okay. And by the way, you see this little blue thing, what I'm doing, it's called teleporting. And basically you push up on your joystick. And you make when you see the little blue dot, you steer it with your headset. You raise your eyes up, and it moves you closer. And then you can be back over here next to the. And let's see if we can get out of this. There we go. And then finally, we'll look at some drills. We got a daily challenge here. We do those. You have those every day. Let's just see what we got. So it's 3 Mozambique paper targets and 6 steel plates. Let's see what we can do there. Okay, so here we are. When you do a drill, it gives you the instructions here. So you read those. So shoot all paper targets 2 times to the body and only 1 time to the head in this order. So 2 to the body, 1 to the head. All steel targets must fall. So we're going to go ahead and do this.
Stand by.
And if you see the little green circles, that means you hit the correct target area. And if you miss outside the A box, you're going to get a yellow circle. So that's it. That's the drill. That's really what I want to show you. But there's all kinds of cool stuff. Well, I'm going to show you one more drill I really think is cool. And you can set, by the way, you got filters here. You can set these for stationary if you don't have much room, which is what I'm at now. We'll just do that. And then we can go over here and search for a drill. And you can search with a little keyboard here. And we're going to go to the hip fire challenge, because I think this is cool. Basically, you're going to look at your instructions. So you're going to shoot everything from the hip, and if you don't, it will penalize you and get you out, because it knows where the orientation is compared to the goggles. So if you raise it up to here, it's not going to count. You have to do it down here at the hip. So let's just do this one more time.
Stand by.
And it does show your score up here. I don't really pay too much attention to that. I do look at these and see how my hits were. Certainly, the higher score means you're better. You can look at your time, all that good stuff. But honestly, I think it's just a good way to practice things you cannot practice, in most cases, in a typical commercial firing range. And they have new stages all the time. They've got different ranges you can go to. And just for fun, just to show you, there are a whole lot of different thrill ranges you can go to here. And then when you get back to the drills, man, there are plenty. Not only are there single drills, and we'll just clear it all out. But look how many there are. There's actually stages for actual, competitive leagues and different things. And those are all the drills they have right now, man. There's a bunch of them. I don't know how many there are, but there is a bunch of them. And, well, we're still going, man. Like I said, there's a lot of them. So those are all drills you can do. And then also you can go to series, and then they have a lot of series as well, which are, more than one drill all combined into a series. So that's pretty cool. And then you can go back to the hut, but what I always recommend doing when you're finished, just go ahead and click on the settings here and quit. I know, kind of dorky. At least that's what I always thought. But I have to be honest with you. When I got the system, it's the first time I'd ever used one of these. And I was and still am amazed at how quickly your brain gets immersed into it, and it starts to feeling real, which from a practice standpoint is good. But just a quick example: the first time I put these on, I wound up trying to lean on a table that wasn't there, and I busted it. So we'll say that. But that's cool, and it's very immersive, and it is certainly some really innovative, cool technology. But what is it that makes it, in my opinion, a really good practical practice tool? So, got to start this with a caveat. You can certainly play this like a game if you want to, but again, it's mindset. And if you approach this as a practice tool, not as a game, not as a competition, but as an actual learning practice tool, I really do think it is extremely useful. And honestly, I consider this a system, the kind of like the bridge between dry practice and live fire, because it is neither. You can do some things with this that you cannot do with standard, what we would consider dry practice or dry fire practice, as some people call it. So it has, but certainly it's not live fire, absolutely. So there's trade-offs everywhere. But again, it's about mindset. I will say that it does embody the 3 F's, which are fundamentals, feedback, and fun. If it's fun, you're going to want to do it more, right? So some of the advantages I found to using the system are, obviously, there's no commercial range limitations. Nobody's going to get shot if you screw up. There are some drills and things you can do, as you saw in the tour, where you have 360 degrees, and it really, it's hard to practice that live fire anywhere. And unlike dry practice, you get feedback. You can see your targets. You can see what you've done. You can actually see if that trigger press you thought was great was really great. Target ID things and all the different things where you can tell what you can differentiate between good and bad, shoot and don't shoot. Those are all really critical skills to know and have for self-defense. You have a built-in shot timer, so you don't have to fiddle with that. You can tell how you're doing with your draw to first shot or first to second shot, which is really the only time that I'm really concerned about. I don't care about split times, but the time it takes to get it out of the holster and get on target could be the difference between life and death. So you can really work on that, and you can gauge it, and you can actually judge yourself on that, and you have a benchmark to work with. And no ammo needed. This thing does not take ammo, so there's that. Now, I said I was going to give you how to get the best bang for your buck from this thing, 7 reasons. And again, beating a dead horse, I know, but what's the first most important fundamental? Mindset. It's about mindset. You have to treat this like a practice tool, not a game. Don't try to cheat it to change your score, because you're only, as the teacher used to say, you're only cheating yourself. So the first thing I would recommend to do is, and they have videos on there to show you how to do this. I didn't go over this stuff in the range tour, but make sure you set your trigger when you get to the range the first time, you can set your trigger and make sure it is adjusted, calibrated, so it feels like a real trigger. Because you can set it where it'll go full auto if you want to. And you can play if you want to play a game and you're fiddling around. But I'm telling you, this is about practical practice. Draw from a holster. I mean, that's how you're going to walk around. You're not walking around at low ready. Okay, draw from a holster. Yep, you're going to be slower. That's not the point. You're not going to ever be on top of the leaderboard drawing from a holster, unless you're John Wick. But that's how you improve your skills. Speaking of leaderboards, just ignore it. Ignore the leaderboards, the scoring, the rankings, all that. The only thing I look at on the scoring is for the time, to see what my time to draw was, and just to see how my hits are. As you saw, you can see, how was my accuracy level. Focus on fundamentals and hits. So focus on that trigger press. Focus on a good solid grip. Make sure that your trigger press is consistent and your grip is consistent, and you are doing what you need to do. You're getting a good sight picture, all that stuff. And you can do that and actually get real-time feedback on how you did it, as opposed to dry practice where you can hold up there and you kind of look and see that it's not moving. You can even balance a empty cartridge on your sight in some pistols and see if it moves, but this gives you really good feedback. And then, in my opinion, spend a little bit of time every session in that skill section we looked at in the range tour. Those what is it, 5 different skills. I think those are really, just spend a little bit of time, maybe pick one every time, and just spend a little time with it to improve your skills and just check yourself. And then finally, number 7, as you get better and you get used to this and you get more confident and you've worked on some of those other fundamentals, then you can add mag changes in. And what that means is, and I didn't show you that in the tour, but basically if your gun runs empty, you push your mag release, and then you don't have another mag to put in it, but you can tap it, rack it, and then you can go through that motion even if you're not doing it. Even if you don't have a real mag, tap it, rack it, and then get back on target. You don't have to do that if you use unlimited ammo, but I'm just saying for practical practice, that's the best thing to do. Now, how much is all this practicality going to cost you? First of all, let me just say right up front, if you use the coupon code SOP10, you save 10% on everything from the Ace folks. Now, you're also going to need something that's not from the Ace folks. It is a virtual reality headset. So let's go over the prices on that. So first you're going to need, they call this a handset. I call it a pistol, but we'll call them handsets. They have 8 different versions. I chose the Shadow Systems version because it's the closest to a Glock that they have, and it does feel almost exactly like my Glock 19. But they have 8 different versions, all modeled after real pistols, and they are absolutely really, really good models. They're weighted the whole 9 yards. So these are $200 a piece, $199. So $200 a piece for those. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, you have to pay for the software. It's a subscription-based software service that allows them to keep everything up to date and keep everything improving, and to pay for the hosting and all that, because it is what it is. That's like most softwares now, it's subscription-based. And the price on that is either $19 a month or it's $168 a year, which comes out to $14 a month, which saves you $60. So I paid $199 for the pistol. Again, I bought it. They didn't send it to me. I paid $168 for a year because I figured I'm already into this thing for the price of the pistol, the price of the headset, and all that. I'm not going to quit it, so I might as well save the $60. And I spent that $60 on this holster because, again, you don't have to have a holster to play it, but if you want to practice for practical use, I highly recommend you get a holster. So that puts me in at $427 if my on-camera math is right. The next thing you need is one of these, and this is a MetaQuest 3. They also have a MetaQuest 3S. These things range in price from $300 to $500. The 3S is $300 or $400 depending upon memory, and the 3 is $500 because it has more memory, but also it has some features that really I like. So my friend John Abbott at Hog Holsters, he bought the lower price one first, and he said I took it back, and this one has more adjustability. It's more comfortable. I can get my glasses behind it better. Just a whole bunch of stuff that he recommended I do it. So I'm at now $927 for this. So if you buy the lower price headset, which might be fine for you, because my eyes, maybe you don't wear glasses, you got good eyesight, it's going to be about the price of maybe it's going to be $700. So maybe a Glock and a couple boxes of ammo. I'm up in HK range, but it is what it is. I still think it's worth it. One other thing about that is this I bought at Best Buy's. Now you can buy everything. You can bundle this up on Ace's website. Here's a little secret for you. They don't allow coupon codes on this bundle, so you can't save the 10% on it. I did the math. If you buy all this stuff, this, and your software, and use the coupon code SOP10, and you buy this somewhere else, your total expenditure is going to be less than if you buy this in the bundle. And so these are available I bought mine at Best Buy, Amazon, whatever. And yep, I get it. It is not cheap. But still, if, and this is the big if you can afford it, your kids aren't missing meals, you know what I'm talking about, then I do think it is a very practical practice tool that will make you a better shooter and help you be better prepared to protect yourself and your family if you treat it with the right mindset. One other thing I wanted to mention before I close this video out, because I've had some people ask me about this in person. No, it does not have actual physical recoil. It does have virtual recoil in the game where the sights jump, but no physical recoil here. And to be fair, in my opinion, yeah, it'd be great if it did, but that doesn't diminish the fact that this is still a really useful tool. You got the great trigger. It feels like a real trigger. It's got a take up and it's got a wall. And then the physical recoil always happens, think about this, after you press that trigger. So would it make it different getting on the second shot? Yes, but for the first shot, when you're pressing that trigger, it's not going to affect it. Another thing I didn't mention about this, I think is really cool as far as usefulness. They have optics that can go on these pistols, virtual optics, and their virtual optics are actual real. They have Trijicon, they have Holosun, they have SIGs, they have a few others, I think, that you can try out different optics and different reticle patterns virtually without spending a bunch of money and figuring out which one's right for you. So that's just a little side benefit to it, but I do think it's a benefit. So anyway, that's a quick look at my new Ace setup and my virtual practice range. Again, if you use the code SOP10, you can save 10% on everything from Ace, and then kind of on your own on this. But again, I think it's a really worthwhile practice tool if you can afford it. That's it. I hope this video has been helpful. I really, really appreciate you watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident. Be prepared and practice. I'll see you next time.